meeting. This is a virtual event. You can see here, we're asking, this will be recorded, so we'll be asking permission for that. We're just going to leave people about a minute more to kind of find their way in. We're very excited to be here today, so and we're glad to see that those of you who are joining are choosing to spend some of your Friday morning with us, or Friday afternoon, depending on where you are. So, so we'll just continue to file in if we can, and that'll be good. I will say I'm disappointed we're not meeting in person, but I also understand that the infectious disease issues that are out there right now and the transmissions of all the different kinds of things and people being sick often now. This is as good as it gets. So we're excited to be spending today with us. We have revised our day so that we are more efficient with our time. We're going to have a tighter time frame today. And we have a very energetic schedule for today to talk about HIV prevention. Okay, Dami, we're a minute past, so why don't we go ahead and get started? So here's our agenda for today. You can, like I said, you can see that it's a very energetic agenda. I'm going to get us going here with some opening remarks and then pass the torch to Dr. Milburn. And then we'll move on to our plenary. So let's have the next slide. This is me, obviously. Dr. Milburn is with us, and Dr. Swendeman, both co-directors of the developmental core for the CHIPTS Center. And we're looking forward to hearing the remarks as we move forward. Next slide. So I want to point out that today is the day after World AIDS Day. I think it's really important to remember that HIV prevention continues to be an issue that we need to pay attention to. I was at a conference recently, and I was surprised at how overwhelmed I became from looking at the panels of the AIDS quilt. So I think it's important to remember that this is an important disease that took a lot of people's lives way too early. And we need to continue to focus on addressing HIV locally. And next slide. And if we look at what's happening locally here in Los Angeles, we can see that the gains that we made in HIV prevention are largely being given back. So we see here in the middle of the slide here, a 9% increase in LA County HIV new cases. This is unacceptable, unacceptable. And we see that we have about 1,401 new cases last year. So this has just really stopped a lot of the decreases that happened in HIV prevention. Next slide. So where is HIV testing happening now? One of the questions is, where are all these new cases coming from and how are we finding out? What we're seeing is of those 1,401 slides, there's a lot of text on this, but if you look at the bolded part here, you can see 594 new cases were from acute care hospitals and 601 were from the sexual testing sites for STDs, which leaves 206 new cases from other testing strategies. So we've largely dismantled the sort of storefront testing places, things like that, the more outreach sorts of things that we used to do to bring new cases in, and really focused on bricks and mortar. It's an important point. Next slide. Where are the new infections in LA County? On the right side, you can see where they are. And you can see this is from surveillance data. And you can see here that the HIV cases center, the hot cases are around downtown and the Figueroa corridor, as we know where they are. We also see that about half of these cases were co-infected with syphilis. 18% had a history of methamphetamine use, and a large unhousing in the house population. Next slide. So I'm going to turn this over to now at this point to Dallas to talk with about the William Cunningham Scholar Awardee. I just wanted to give you a heads up of where we are with HIV in LA County. Dallas.
Thanks, Steve. I think we're Dr. Milburn for this
Or
next
Dr. Milburn. Sorry. Yes, exactly.
So good morning, everyone. I'm going to shift the order a little bit. I had planned to start by sharing a little bit about CHIPTS with you and the goals of the conference, and then our William E. Cunningham Scholar Awardee. But let's start with the awardee since we've seen his picture. So we want to take the time to recognize the recent awardee of our annual William A. Cunningham Scholar Award, Mr. Tucker Avra. Mr. Avra is a third-year medical student here at UCLA in the David Geffen School of Medicine, and he's the director and co-founder of Harm Reduction Los Angeles. His research focuses on improving healthcare and reducing stigma towards people who use drugs and people living with HIV. The themes of his work really around research and advocacy really embody the William A. Cunningham Award for reducing health disparities and inequities, and really focusing on social and structural determinants of health and medical mistrust. So congratulations, Mr. Avra. We're really proud of you and very excited about your work. So I'm just going to
Thank you so much, Dr. Milburn. So I wasn't able to unmute at first. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for the award as well. It allowed me to go to Puerto Rico to the National Harm Reduction Conference and present our work, connect with a bunch of colleagues around the country. So it was super valuable, and I'm super honored to get the award and to be here today. So thank you so much.
Great. And I'm glad you had that wonderful trip, and we're pleased that you're with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Milburn.
So just a little bit about CHIPTS. CHIPTS, as most of you may know, is an academic research center at UCLA. It's a collaboration of diverse, multidisciplinary HIV researchers, which really seeks to promote collaborative research to foster networking and support capacity building among communities and agency partners to really improve our efforts to eliminate new HIV infections and health disparities among key populations with HIV-associated comorbidities. Our annual conference, the Next Generation Conference, it's really led by CHIPTS to support the next generation of HIV researchers, HIV prevention and treatment practitioners, and service providers who are all working to end HIV. We really encourage networking and sharing visions for future work. We know that it is challenging in this type of setting to have some of that networking and sharing, but we encourage all of you to hang with us all morning and take whatever opportunities you have to network and share. And there will be some opportunities built into the conference. So we're really excited to have all of you here today. We have great presentations from emerging and established investigators, just very exciting work. We have national and global work. So hang in there. It's going to be a great conference today. And we have a wonderful keynote speaker, and we're really looking forward to her talk this morning. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Swendeman to introduce the keynote. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Milburn. Yes, before we introduce the keynote, I'm just going to cover a little bit of logistics business. So just first off, just kind of reviewing the agenda briefly. There will be an opening plenary, which will be a main session. We'll all be together for that. And then following that, there will be panels in breakout rooms. We really tried to minimize the breakout rooms, but still wanted to provide opportunities for a lot of different kinds of presentations. There's also a poster viewing session, which there will be 12 posters in different individual breakout rooms. So that's a really nice opportunity to connect with people presenting posters. There are 3 oral sessions and 2 panels in each session to choose from at 9:45, 11:05, and 11:35. There'll be Zoom instructions for the breakout rooms, which will be shared in the chat as we prepare to transition into those. We want to ask everyone to please stay muted and use the chat function for questions and comments, and we'll compile those and be able to address them during the Q&A times.